Uh, back to it. I have a bit of a headache, so I'm not sure how long I'll be doing this for. I should have just finished his tongue coming out. Yeah, okay. I had some mac and cheese and hot dogs earlier. I had a mac and chog. Mac and cheese on the hot dog. That was the pinnacle of food science. What should we start at today? It's like 213,000, I think. If I can blow through like 3,000, I'll be on the pace that I set, but 3 hours is a long time. I'd be content with like, 9,000 or even potentially less than that for the day. Because we are still making progress. We'll see how I feel. It's been just like non-stop raining for the past week or so. And I don't recognize like half of these soundtracks. Like these are from Rainworld, but I don't recognize where they're from in Rainworld. I don't know where this song plays. Granted, I'm not very good at recognizing most of the songs. I mean, threat themes I'm pretty good with. And then the really distinct themes like the captain and bioengineering and whatnot. But then even stuff like Kayava, I feel like I've never heard Kayava actually in the game. I've only heard it on the soundtrack. Hey, Nozzle. Oh, that reminds me. I meant to go look at the Steam store for more things to buy before the Steam summer sale ends. Yeah. How are you doing? I think the most headache-inducing part of this is just the bright white flash that happens every time he teleports. You believe in my crusade? Although it's getting dark out, so hopefully my gecko will actually be out and about and I can go out my gecko cam. Yes, but I don't remember why. Nuzzle. Just for some reason that reminded me of the Steam Summer Sale and that I wanted to look at games. By crosscode? How much is it? I should try EDF 4.1 if I haven't. I'm vaguely familiar with the EDF games. I remember seeing gameplay of them a long time ago. That would make sense. Yeah, I'm not going to set a number goal for this stream. I'll just go until I feel tired and don't want to go anymore. God, the bright white flashes, the bright white light flashes are a lot more annoying when it's darker outside. $6 on sale? Okay. And I feel like I'd be up to buy pretty much anything that isn't, like Noida. I don't know. Wish there was a way to mitigate the bright white teleporty light. I pretty much have to do that every 15 seconds to dodge the tongue. It's there's the mix of things on the Steam Summer Sale. There's games that I would get to stream, like I played Ori and the Blind Forest the other day on stream. If I were to get Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which I'll probably get, I would probably stream that. Whereas a game like Crosscode, I feel like I would probably play off stream, just because of the nature of it. Yo, echo music. I don't think there's anything that brings me quite as much joy as going outside and just seeing like a lizard, like a frog, or a turtle or something. Some kind of reptile. Or amphibian or something like that. If I saw a snake, I would be incredibly hyped. Why are we still here just to suffer? We're here to kill the Moonlord. Suffering is just this, you know, an extra bonus. Reminds me of, I was looking through some of the Prime Day sales, because I have Prime Student or something, but Prime Day just feels like such a scam. I don't want any of these items, and like Amazon quality has really gone downhill in the past like half decade or so. And it's really, a lot of Amazon is just really frustrating. You'll probably fall asleep eventually. That's all right. We got all the low energy tracks. I want to hear like Sheer Ice Torrent and Veiled Northstar. I guess those are on the Downpour soundtrack. Fucking love Sheer Ice Torrent and Veiled Northstar. I'll yell randomly to wake you up. I don't know. I mean, I'm fairly tired after a long day of doing this, so it'll probably be a decently lower energy stream. Yeah, I can make you a mod. Hold on. There you go. So after tonight, this will be 2 days of killing the Moonlord's hands. Although, one complete day and one, like, half day. We're gonna break 30k on the right hand. I don't think we're gonna break 30k on the left hand for a little while. I've never yelled in your presence. I don't really yell very much, just period. I don't... Yelling is loud. I don't like loud noises. Oh yeah, did you end up, getting back into, speedrunning, what was it, Evergate? Imagine my power goes out during the fight. I mean, for something like that, which is not, you know, unreasonable, because it is hurricane season. And hurricane season is like half the year. I would just restart the fight, and use a different weapon to get back to, the HP value we were at. Lawnmower dance pad next. I'd rather not. I don't want to touch a lawnmower again for the rest of my life. In real life or in the game. I don't. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if I went back to play Terraria again with a dance pad, it would be a lot easier, just because I've gotten much better at controlling a dance pad. The main difficulty of doing dance pad Terraria the first time was just the fact that it was the first game that I played on a dance pad, and I was not good with the controls. But after doing Elden Ring, Rain World, Hollow Knight, I don't think going back and doing Terraria again would be particularly difficult. You have a keyboard booked? Oh yeah, that makes sense. So what happened to it? Like what balked about it? String trimmer would have made for a better Terraria weapon. I can't wait for... It's going to happen. Every single version of the Rain World Complete soundtrack has the Rain World trailer, What Fate a Slugcat. And so there's going to be a point during this stream where the What Fate a Slugcat like voiceover is going to start playing, and I love it every time. I'm sorry. Did the... Oh my fucking god. Okay. The soundtrack is currently playing Silent Construct, which is basically silent. Board died, so let's get a refund. Makes sense. I like to use mods in Terraria? Not really, no. I mean, I've played a couple of mods. I played Calamity, which was It's fine. Fun to play. I wouldn't play it again. I played Thorium, which, it's fine. I wouldn't play it again. Thorium seemed like it'd be a lot more fun in multiplayer. I was not playing it in multiplayer. I've played some randomizer mods, but I didn't really like the way that Terraria randomizer mods worked. One, all of the fun randomizer things, like projectile and AI randomization and stuff like that, would just break the game, and it would quickly become unplayable. Like, I remember we tried to do the, like, weapon projectile randomization, or, like, projectile AI randomization, I think is what it was. And we would just very quickly get a broken weapon that soft-locked the game. And we had to die or save and quit, which then reset all the weapons. And the enemy randomization, I don't know, I was expecting something more akin to, like, swapping out an enemy type for a different enemy type, like saying all blue slimes are rune wizards or something like that. As opposed to just randomizing every single spawn every time they spawn. Especially because they weren't even, with the settings that I had, random enemies. They were just like random entities with random sprites. And it just wasn't a very playable experience. And it felt like either choosing between something that wasn't random enough to be particularly interesting, or something that was just completely broken. I didn't find an in-between balance that I liked. And as far as other mods, I mean, there was Cum Launcher. Cum Launcher seemed pretty cool. I should look at Starlight River. I am not going to look at Starlight River. I know that Starlight River is a mod that exists. If I play Starlight River, I don't want to have any information regarding Starlight River. I'd like to play it blind. But the mod's not done yet. Isn't it still in a pretty early, like, alpha or beta stage? I don't want to spoil myself on the mod and, like, get into it before it's even done. It's the same reason that, like, I'm not playing Ultra Kill. Like, Ultra Kill seemed like a really fun game, but I didn't know that it wasn't finished when I got it, and if I had known that, I wouldn't have played it until it was finished, because when I get into a game, I usually get into a game and then play it a lot and then never play it again. Or don't play it for a long time. So I don't want to play a game before it's done, because then I'm just not going to play, you know, all of the content, or the story's not going to be done, or things like that. Head for new board, new custom switches, but it's not expensive. Another 600 euro on keyboards? Damn. My keyboard is like 30 bucks. And is, shit, but functional. I remember my friends in college, would do a lot of work, making custom keycaps, I think. Either making or getting custom keycaps. I think it was their roommate, would, like, assemble custom, mechanical keyboard things. I forget exactly what it was. It's out on Tmod? Yeah, but it's out as, like, an early beta. Like, it's not done. Keyboard is 10 plus years old. You bought it for less than 10 euros. Keyboards are weird. I'm also not a huge fan. Mechanical keyboards get expensive. Especially if you're getting custom keycaps. And switches and things. Yeah, I don't like the clicky. The main reason I have not gotten a mechanical keyboard is because of my roommate freshman year of college. The guy that I've talked about a bit. The guy that was just, like, really late to all of my D&D campaigns, and then when I made, like, a one-on-one session to flesh out his character's backstory, he just started, like, rolling a joint in the middle of the session in my apartment. after showing up a day and several hours late. But he would be up playing like Overwatch really late into the night on a very loud mechanical keyboard, and I since then have had a very large distaste of the clickety clackety. No proof you're here? Yeah, damn, I don't see any... Never mind. I was gonna make a joke about that thing you said a while ago, but decided against it. Overwatch, it could be worse. Well, it was also, freshman year, at the end of the year, my dorm building, like, voted on superlatives for the different people that lived in the dorm buildings, and the superlative I won was most likely to be in the common room at 3 a.m. Because I just could not sleep in my dorm because my roommate snored very loudly, and I just could not sleep at all. I would just, like, be very uncomfortable and then go out and sit in the common room. And then when he wasn't asleep, he would be playing Overwatch with very loud clickety-clackities, and I also couldn't sleep. So I would just, like, sit out in the dorm room and then sleep during the day. And with a thud and low clack noise. Makes sense. Played the Ultra Kill demo, and it's pretty fun. You kind of just like playing games that are finished because you play a lot and you get, playing games that are finished because you've played a lot and get burnt out with content left, whether you only... I'm not sure. I don't entirely understand what that statement meant. I assume you're saying you like games that have less content because it feels like you've played more of it because you don't play them as much. Is that the vibe there? Is that what I'm getting? I don't know. Hollow Knight was a... I did not like... I played Hollow Knight before the Gods and God Home DLC came out or whatever. And it took me a long time to get in the mood to play Hollow Knight again and do all the God Home stuff. Because I basically just did a bunch of runs, 100%ing the game, getting all the achievements, and then more DLC came out, and I feel like the token example of me really disliking it is with Isaac. I do not like the amount of content that kept getting added into Isaac, because I would basically get in the mood to play the game, get into it, 100% it, which is a massive undertaking in Isaac. And then be like, okay, I'm done with the game. I don't want to play it again. Okay, by the way, here's another giant DLC with tons of new items and new things to do. And, like, it's just exhausting. It happened with the original Isaac when the Eternal update came out, which wasn't even that much content. And actually, the Eternal update inspired me to go back and 100% Isaac proper. Because I never actually finished getting the item sheet. I think I was still missing, like, 1 up and... whatever the item you get in gold chests that gives you flight and, like, half an Eternal Heart or whatever. And the Eternal update inspired me to go back and finish that. But with Rebirth, I mean, I played Rebirth, I 100%ed Rebirth, and then, like, Afterbirth came out, and I was like, okay, there's a lot, but, you know, it's the DLC, you know, I'll play the DLC, looks really fun, I'll do it. And then I played Afterbirth, and I forget if I 100%ed Afterbirth. I think I 100%ed Afterbirth. And then Afterbirth Plus came out, and by that point, I was like, I think the main thing that really annoyed me is because I was like, okay, there's not going to be more DLC coming out for Isaac. Like, they dropped the DLC, so I'm going to start playing mods. And I think I installed, like, Anti-Birth or something, and was playing that off the save file that I had 100%ed, because I was like, okay, well, I'm done with the game. And they were not done, and I could not go back and transfer my save that had 100%ed, so I would have had to start again from scratch, which really is not something that I wanted to do. So I never really got into Afterbirth Plus, because mods had made it so I couldn't use the save file again. Then they added another update on top of that, another DLC, and like I want to get into a game, finish the game, and then never touch the game again, with a couple of exceptions of games that I'll like to come back to. You know, maybe I'll come back through for a playthrough, but not really get into the game. Speaking of randos, you do a lot of DS1 item randomizers. Dark Souls 1 randomizers are really fun. Dark Souls randomizers in general are really fun. I enjoy the lack of... the fact that your character essentially has the same skill set throughout the entire game. Meaning that you're not going to hit a wall because you don't have a mechanic that is required to deal with a late game enemy, like you get in some Metroidvania type games. I've wanted to do Dark Souls 1. After doing Elden Ring, I felt like I could do a speedrun on Dark Souls 1 on a dance pad. And I wanted to do that. I just, I think this was, shortly after that is when I had broken my toe, so I never, really got the chance. Yeah, I really feel like after doing Elden Ring, I really got a good grasp of the, dance pad mechanics. Just fuck Millennia. I never want to fight. I never want to fight, like, any of the last stretch of Elden Ring on a dance pad exam, except for maybe Gideon or Godfrey. That whole stretch was a pain in the ass. SGS on dance pad? I am blanking on what SGS stands for. And I feel like I'm going to be a dumbass. I'm going to feel like a dumbass when you say it. Is that just send? No, that wouldn't. Oh, sends gate skip. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Is sends gate skip even utilized in speedruns very much? I mean, I don't know how broken the speedrun would be. Also, send skip is not that hard to pull off. If I was trying to do, like, Duke skip or something, I would be very concerned. But send skip is not hard to pull off. Yeah, I didn't think send skip was really used in speedruns that much, because you have to... it's utilized in any percent. Yeah, no, I can barely do Duke skip on a regular controller. I would be very afraid of trying to do it on a dance pad. You know, I'm pretty good with sense gate skip. I mean, it's mostly just knowing how to move the character once the camera gets stuck in the death cam. It's not like parrying would be difficult. Dark Souls 1 is super generous. A lot of people prefer glitchless. Any percent is impressive, but less fun. Yeah, I mean, I feel like most glitches would be... I mean, I'm not practiced with a lot of Dark Souls 1 glitches. I mean, send skip is the one that, like, I do a lot just because it's very easy to do. And it's fun getting into Anne Orlando and sends early. But Dark Souls speedruns have evolved a lot since the last time I've really paid much attention to Dark Souls speedruns, because I have not really been into Dark Souls speedrunning for quite a while. Um, so I'd probably just, by virtue of uh, not being familiar with most of the glitches, just do a glitchless run. Um, yeah, I feel like I'd probably just set a target time and try to beat it. Um, I don't know what would be a reasonable time to shoot for on a dance pad, though. I mean, I'd have to scope out the waters. Menuing would be very slow. Um, and I doubt I would do it deathless. Yeah, I'd have to do some test runs. It wouldn't be anytime soon, though, by virtue of what I'm currently doing, which is, going to take a long time. I think an hour would be a good time. Uh, I mean, an hour is hard to pull off glitchless any percent. Like, with a controller. Like, yeah, I think it would be a good time, but that's not an easy time to pull off, to begin with. Especially with, like, this slowness of menuing and things. I think an hour would be setting my expectations too high. Like, I think if I were to run glitchless Dark Souls, I could probably get a sub 1 hour on a controller, after a bit of practice. On a dance pad, though, like Nuzzle said, that would be a very difficult endeavor. I can make my own speedrun category. This is true. I don't know. Speedrunning's weird, though. I've talked about this in the past. I don't like speedrunning for the sake of speedrunning. It'll usually just be like, I set a challenge and I try to beat a time, and then after that, I'll just be content and leave it. So I feel like once I got a run and I beat the time that I set, which would probably be like hour 30, maybe 2 hours if it's really bad. Lots of speedrunners do it for fun. But I'm not saying the same thing as what you're saying. I'm not saying I would speedrun for fun, because I would hope that most people who speedrun have fun doing it. I'm saying that I don't find the act of speedrunning itself to be particularly fun. Like, playing games quickly is not inherently something that I find particularly enjoyable, or trying to, like, beat a time. It would more just be a particular iteration of a challenge run that's just trying to do things quickly. And, but, like, honestly, I don't really care that much about speedrunning. Like, I wouldn't speedrun Dark Souls 1 to speedrun Dark Souls. I mean, I would speedrun Dark Souls 1 because I like Dark Souls 1. I think it's a fun game, and speedrunning it's not terribly difficult. But the reason I would specifically do a dance pad speedrun is because I think a dance pad speedrun would be more popular than just playing it on a dance pad in the first place because people like speedruns. Not because I particularly, like, think, oh yeah, I really want to speedrun this. It's like, okay, it could be fun to speedrun it, and I'm sure it would be something that people would find interesting. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that people who speedrun things don't have fun doing it. I would hope that most people speedrunning are having fun with it. Fun most of the time, but RNG heavy games are suffering. Yeah. Used to mod for AXTU, Hollow Knight Speedrunner, Hollow Knight was when any spawns. Okay, let me post that sentence. Competitive speedrunning is actually quite a miserable experience. Oh, I imagine. I would never speedrun competitively. I don't have the competitive drive, and it just sounds so fucking miserable. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by competitive speedrunning. I'm thinking, like, I guess, I guess it depends on the speedrunning community and game itself, and how healthy your relationship is with the challenges that you put yourself to. Fun for you to watch the guy who grinds the game for 10 hours suddenly start reconsidering his life choices. All night with random response moves instead of super annoying. That makes sense. The patch about optimization, not about competition so much, it's self-challenge mostly. I imagine it varies between communities and speedrunners, though. Like, I'm sure the type of people that Totally Not YN is describing do exist. I don't know. I feel like another part of it is that just, I can't imagine... To me, one of the most depressing realities, I feel like, would be feeling like you're stuck doing the same thing endlessly. Like, if you speedrun one game, and you establish yourself as, okay, I am a speedrunner of this game. What I do is I speedrun this game. I stream every day speedrunning this game, trying to get a good time. I could not do that. Just, I really, like, in terms of creative fulfillment, and, just a need to do different things. I mean, I don't even do Terraria challenge runs that often. Like, I'll do a challenge run every couple weeks. I mean, after I finish this, I'm probably not going to play Terraria for quite a while. But there's a reason that I play a lot of different games on stream and make videos on different things, is because I could not tolerate just being like Terraria challenge guy, because I would get burnt out on that after a couple months tops. You don't mind speedrunners who cheat as long as they don't get caught. I would mind that. What? The thing is, like, I feel like that... That's a loaded statement? Yeah. Especially when the game has a lot of RNG. Why don't you mind it? Like, what's the justification for that? What's the... Is this just being like a dream simp and rationalizing your worldview to make it seem like his cheated speedrun was okay? What's the rationalization for cheating? Like, what's the... I feel like it would just undermine the entire thing in the first place. Like, it would be like if right now, actually, I don't even know what you would cheat about what I'm doing right now. I don't know. If I had set the journey mode slider to master so my defense was more effective? Why does the Moonlord's HP go so low when I go to the Underworld? The reason for that is because when the Moonlord teleports and he disappears, his hitboxes disappear, it no longer counts his core HP as being a part of him. So whenever he teleports in his health bar, it's removing the Moonlord's core HP. Which is like 80,000 or something. I forget the exact number. You have a dog in a fight, speedrunning gets caught cheating, you lose nothing as you're not speedrunning yourself. Okay, so the mentality is basically that I don't care that much about speedrunning. It's just you think it's more enjoyable if the speedrunner cheats to make the run, like, seem better because it's more fun to watch? Is that what I'm getting there? You have respect for people who respect their time. So, like, from a viewer's perspective, it's like, you don't care if they cheat, because it's the same to you regardless whether they're cheating or not. If you don't know about it, and the cheating would potentially make it more enjoyable. I feel like that's the vibe I'm getting there. And I can understand that from the perspective of a viewer of going, if I don't know the difference, and I'm not familiar enough with the game to recognize whether or not something would be legitimate or not, it still seems cool to me regardless. But I feel like, yeah, undermining the whole integrity of it is problematic. Because like, the collective understanding of not cheating is really important, because if what you're saying is true, and there are a bunch of people who are trying to speedrun, but there's this general understanding that any one of us could be cheating in a way that would be impossible to prove, I feel like that would just call into question the validity of, like, everyone, if there was some game in which you could cheat consistently with no chance of getting caught. It would just make everyone seem less impressive as a result. It would be like if, they're doing something they enjoy often with balanced lives. Balanced lives? Yeah. I mean, it's weird. I mean, not that I agree with it, but I can understand the perspective as a viewer. I just think it's a flawed one. It would be like if... Let's say during this stream.
What fate?
Yo, what fate is Slugcat?
Prey or predator? As the old world died, a new ecosystem evolves. In a land
I feel like it would be like if I, on stream, right now, let's say, there was a point in time where I thought, what would be a... Let's say at the end of the stream today, I thought that I pressed the stop streaming button, and I immediately, like, went and turned on, like, God mode and brought out another weapon and started chipping down the Moonlord's health. And then said that, like, the next morning I thought I started streaming, but I missed it, and then, like, I did, like, 10,000 damage to him or something. But say that happened, like, on stream, and I feel like doing that would immediately undermine the integrity of every other challenge I've done. Or, like, if I was doing, like, a hardcore run, and some circumstances arose in which I, like, on stream was revealed to have, like, a backup of the character file, or, like, something like that, it would just undermine all of the hardcore runs that I've done, and as a result, I feel like undermine a lot of hardcore players' gameplay. Into this situation is integrity versus dishonesty, because speedrunning take days of grind. Well, I feel like part of the understanding and respect is that, you know, the reason that people respect and enjoy speedrunning is because it's really difficult. It takes days of grind. Like, that's not something that just anybody can walk up and do, and that's why people respect it. It's something that's really difficult that people are dedicating a lot of time to, and taking a shortcut just kind of undermines the whole thing and why people respect it in the first place. I would think. Yeah, I feel like, well, I mean, I think it would depend on the type of person that's doing it. Like, I think if you or I were to cheat, it would be really difficult to like live with that, because it's essentially, there's the constant stress of knowing you might get caught and exposed as like a faker or a cheater or something. But there are definitely narcissistic types of people who could just do that without a second thought. But I think for most normal people, it is a really difficult thing to cope with if you're essentially living day in and day out after having done something like that. Yeah, I have seen some people that have been very, the thing is, there are people that will justify what they're doing as not cheating. Like, obviously, it's going to depend on the person, but I could see people being able to do mental gymnastics to justify that themselves, that they're not really cheating, they're just taking a shortcut that's enabling them to get the RNG that they need so they don't have to spend 20 hours resetting for RNG or something. Not that that's a valid excuse, but I could see how somebody in a stressful situation could convince themselves of that. And use that as an excuse to live with themselves. The stress of speedrunning can drive people to cheat, in which case getting caught would harm them. I mean, I don't think it's the stress of speedrunning to begin with. I think generally people cheat out of a desire for clout or popularity. Like, they're not cheating to try to get a better run. Because I feel like they would feel like the run isn't valid. Because they didn't do it legitimately or properly. At least if they're running in like official categories with defined rules. Obviously, if you're running your own category or you're not doing it on a leaderboard, then the rules can change or be shifted, and you can do, you know, casual speed running as like, oh, okay, you know, I'm gonna remove this RNG element and just do it for fun for myself. That's understandable. But I feel like if you're trying to fake a good run, and post it online, it's usually just for clout or validation, or even just trying to maintain an appearance. Like, some people can feel stressed and feel the need to be like, I need to achieve something and I'm not doing it, therefore I'm going to cheat to try to make it seem like something is happening. There's a lot of reasons, but I feel like they all boil down to trying to get validation or clout. At least in the context of speedrunning here. Like, there have been times, I've done a lot of hardcore runs in Terraria. There have definitely been times where I've been like, God, I wish I could just fish the hardcore character that died or something out of the recycle bin and just keep playing them. And I've done it a couple times. And then immediately afterwards just went like, you know, this really just doesn't feel right. This isn't... I'm not playing the game the way that I want to play the game anymore. It's completely different, and the whole thing just feels empty trying to, like, finish out the run or something like that. Even if, like, you know, not recording it, just genuinely just playing casually, it's like, it just doesn't feel right doing that. That was a weird cutoff to that song. Because just on a personal level, doing something that you yourself recognize is incorrect and is wrong is just going to spoil your enjoyment and be really stressful and not fun, even if you're doing it completely for yourself. I mean, I could see being stressed in the middle of a run. And I think it is... Well, that's weird, because I know there are speedrunners. These are the type of people you talked about before that would get burnt out very easily. like people chasing world records or clout and things like that, who really want to, they see speedrunners being popular because of succeeding at something, and they want to also succeed at it, but underestimated the amount of effort or difficulty or whatever we're putting into it. And so they try really hard to do something and then can't do it, and then they get really stressed about it. And they really want to make it work. And so they resort to cheating or something to try to chase that. I guess it's like a social high. Because, I mean, it feels really good when you do something that's really difficult, and you get validated by other people for it. Like, it's nice getting a really good run and then going, hey, people are impressed with what I did. You know, the other people in the speedrunning community like, respect me more. You know, that's a desirable outcome. Vast majority of speedrunners don't care about clout. I feel weird making blanket statements about that because I have not spoken with the vast majority of speedrunners, and I imagine it's going to vary greatly from game to game and community to community. But I'll trust your opinion on that, as you have a lot more experience with speedrunners than I do. Most of my experience with speedrunners are just assholes in speedrunning communities, who tend to just be very standoffish and annoying to people trying to, or less experienced runners. What's the current discussion? Speedrunning specifically, I think the YouTube, yeah. YouTube decided to just pause the playlist I was playing for some reason. Ocarina of Time, MM, Evergate, and Hollow Knight. What is MM? I don't recognize it off the top of my head. Majora's Mask, yeah. I'm not big into Zelda, so I didn't recognize the, abbreviation. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like one of the things just... mentally, the reason why I can't really get into speedrunning is I do not do well with comparing myself to other people. I don't like doing it. I try to avoid it as much as possible. I don't like keeping up with what other people do in a sense of trying to compare what I do to them. And the problem is speedrunning is kind of inherently doing that, even if you're not trying to. Like, I feel like there's a lot of friendly competition, and comparisons, but I just don't do well with that. And so it's kind of off-putting before even getting into anything else. I played a Zelda game before. You hear they're really good. I played Ocarina of Time as a kid, but aside from that, I haven't really played very many Zelda games. I'm trying to think if I've played any Zelda games, honestly. It's just never really been something I've been into. I haven't had a lot of consoles with Zelda games on them. As I was a kid, I largely played on PS2, original Xbox, N64, SNES, and there were Zelda games on those two, but I didn't really play Zelda games. I think I played more like Mario games. And like 360, PS3 when those came out. Yeah, Zelda just was never really something that I was too into. Say, most people's feeling is passion and beating your own goals, and you get a small but very loud part that care only about records and clout. That makes sense, yeah. I imagine for people outside of the speedrunning communities, that very loud part is probably the most recognizable part, because, you know, world records and impressive feats like that are usually the things that people hear about. Your friends like to speedrun, but you don't. You get frustrated if you tried. I like to speedrun some games in a very casual way. I've done some Inscription speedruns. I did a long time ago some casual Hollow Knight. Not like, I didn't even like look up the, I don't think it would have been a valid speedrun as per the Path of Pain speedrunning rules, because I just did it in a save file. I think I had already hit the switch in the middle, and I don't think I split correctly. But it was basically just me playing the game and going, hey, I wonder if I can do this without getting hit. And then that turned into, hey, I wonder how fast I can do this. And it was just a really fun practice. And then immediately upon sharing that with other people on some community, I think it was probably like Reddit or something, there was just a lot of very annoying responses from people. But yeah, I've done some casual Dark Souls speedruns. Dark Souls is just a really fun game to speedrun. How you remember speedrun was HZD once you really got used to the game? What is HZD? Horizon Zero Dawn? Okay, yeah. It's a very loud minority, so that's what people see and hear about. That makes sense. Yeah, I've never been into Terraria speedrunning. It's not a game that I think is fun to try to speedrun. I've tried it, but I just never end up having an enjoyable time. I think seeded runs are boring, and unseeded runs are too RNG heavy. I don't know, there's an element to it that I feel like being on the pioneering end of speedrunning is probably very creatively fulfilling, but trying to get into speedrunning something that's already established, I think is very creatively unfulfilling, and is not something I like at all. Like, the notion of, I want to get into speedrunning this game, I basically just look up what the existing strategies are and then emulate them to the best of my ability. And I don't like that creatively. And that's one of the reasons that I could never get into Terraria speedrunning, is because, well, if you want to have a good time, the established strategy is usually the best strategy, and there's not that much to change about it. And it's just going, okay, how can I, how do I just do this thing that people have established is the thing to do? If that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, you can make your own category. But then it just feels kind of weird, and it feels less like... It feels like at that point I would rather just do a challenge run and avoid the stress of having a timer altogether. Like, I don't particularly like... Like, I find timers to be stressful, just playing the game normally. And at that point, I'd rather just do a challenge run and ignore speed altogether. Yeah. And when you go in category, the same strats still apply in the game engine knowledge still applies. That is true, yeah. Like, that's one of the reasons that I never really got into Terraria speedrunning, or really watched other people play Terraria for a long time, is because I wanted to find ways to play around with the game and learn things myself, rather than just look at somebody else who already knows how to break the game and then just copy what they do. And that's the reason why I still don't really do that. Is because I like the feeling of, even if it's essentially meaningless or leads you to the same conclusion or leads you to a worse conclusion, it's more fun finding out a way to do it yourself rather than just seeing somebody else do it and copying that. Like, I really enjoyed finding a way to route the Path of Pain. Because I didn't really look up anything about Path of Pain speedruns or anything. I just walked up and started doing it. And then gradually honed and refined a way to do it. And that was really fun. And had I not gotten such a negative response from the community when I had shared that, I probably would have been more into Hollow Knight speedrunning, or probably speedrunning as a whole, because it was a really enjoyable experience in a lot of ways. That then essentially was like, oh, okay, I don't really want to do this again. These people are toxic and miserable to interact with. In a video by a speedrunner playing Half-Life upside down, he could have made it his own category and it looked pretty fun. But, like, you don't have to speedrun that. Like, you can just play the game upside down. And I feel like doing it with speedrun tech, like, the thing is, knowing the speedrun tech, like, the speedrun tech is the problem, right? It's not the specific route, it's not the specific weapon that you use, it's like learning, okay, you walk in this particular pattern around this boss and they're incapable of hitting you. And you can abuse that and just very quickly punish them down with this. You can clip out of bounds here and jump here to circumvent this area entirely. Like, those are things that watching somebody else do just really diminishes the creative fun of it. And it's something that would be fun to discover yourself, but if you're trying to get into something that's already has established speedruns, you can't really do that very much. Because there's only so much innovation to be had. And a lot of the times, it's easy to innovate something. It's hard to innovate something that's better. Especially if you're an amateur and are not super familiar with the game in the way that a lot of other people are. It's the same reason that I've never really gotten into Rain World speedrunning, is like, I don't know, something about how much damage we've done to Moonlord so far. Take 217,500 and then subtract 205,506 from it. So about 12,000 damage. Something about the Rain World community always kind of rubbed me weirdly. And I was never super involved in it. And this divide was somewhat further cemented when I pissed off some of the Rain World Discord server by making a video telling people how to unlock the Ninth Slugcat. But I don't know. I've had a lot of people like share movement tech things with me in Rain World, and I don't. It feels weird, and I can't entirely place why. Like, Rain World is a game that I would not mind speedrunning, but the thing that I wouldn't like about it is the idea of essentially watching other people and just emulating what they do. And like reading through the movement tech spreadsheet and going, okay, I can pull off this maneuver at this location to save time. That's the aspect of it that I don't like. Or even things like, people had brought this up before, like the Rain World Discord server has this series of challenges that are like community challenges that are very random things, like something like taming a cyan lizard from lineaging a cyan lizard in outskirts and like bringing it to 5 pebbles or something. Or things like that. And it feels... Something about doing an established challenge like that I wasn't really a huge fan of, because I like establishing my own challenges. And it just felt weird. Hey, fanboy lover. It's 3 a.m. and you're dying. You just get a mac and chalk. You got my respect for pissing off Rainworld Discord. It's not very hard to do, evidently. I'm sure by this point they've largely forgotten about it, but it was when I, shortly after the Downpour update, DJ had told me how to, unlock the 9th Slugcat on stream, and then I immediately went and made a video telling people how to do it, at which point, this greatly upset people on the Rainworld Discord. A small number of people who wanted to keep it a secret, for a longer period of time. I then followed that up by being the first person in the world to beat that Slugcat campaign, which hopefully alleviated some of those. But, the whole thing was kind of weird. But why? Why what? Why did they want to keep it a secret? It was a weird situation. They had, like, this ARG puzzle thing going on. That was very heavily... It was basically only in the Rainworld Discord server. And from my understanding, even in the Discord server was very niche. Like, most of the people in the server didn't know that it was happening. And the solution to the puzzle riddle thing was the code to unlock the Slugcat. And they were upset that I gave the answer away so easily. And didn't give people more time to figure it out on their own. It was a weird situation. Like, I didn't feel great about doing it because, like, they were trying to guilt trip me really hard into not doing it and taking the video down, and then I decided that I didn't want to do that. Overall, it wasn't a particularly pleasant experience on either end, I think. It just felt like this weird, like, somewhat elitist... I want to keep this secret for ourselves before telling more people about it. Because they even said to me, we don't care if you... And the thing that really got me about it was... And the thing that I think cemented my decision was, we don't care if you play it or show people that it exists. We just don't want you to tell people how to do it. And I really didn't like that statement. And that was, I think, one of the main things that made me keep the video up. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see what they were coming from. And it wasn't like a really toxic environment. It was just some people were very upset at me. It's not like they were, you know, like threatening me or harassing me or anything. It was just... the whole situation felt kind of weird. And I think a lot of their grievances was after I had made the video, there was one of like the game's devs from the Discord server, one of the people who had worked on the DLC, that had asked me to take the video down, and he was the one that essentially told me all of these things. And I did initially, and then I thought about it more, and it just really felt weird to me. And I really didn't like what he was asking me to do. Which is why I ended up putting the video back up. Because it was this weird... I spent a long time thinking about it that day. And it was... A while ago, I had decided that just as like a general statement in my life, I don't want to regret... I would rather regret doing something than regret not doing something. And I would rather do something than do nothing. And spoiler free on tons of shit due to self-control, choice making solutions to figure it out. Yeah, some people are very astonished by how well I'm able to avoid spoilers. Like, it's basically, once I'm aware that something exists, I just ignore any and all references to it, whatsoever. I don't know, the whole situation around that secret slug cat is weird. But it also really, that decision was also a fairly emotionally charged one, because I went from being extremely hype and excited to just feeling really depressed after the fact. Because I felt like I was essentially trying to be guilt-tripped into something, and then decided not to do it, which doesn't feel particularly nice. Yeah, that's the slug cat that has the dating sim at the end of it for beating that campaign nuzzle. And like I said, immediately after that, I started streaming it and then was the first person to beat it, unassisted. And that was a really fun experience. And there was also the element of, I want to beat this thing, because there also seemed to be this general impression from a lot of people that the campaign was just impossible, and it was just a joke meme thing. But I wanted to play it and beat it, and I hated the idea of sitting there streaming something day in and day out, and going, I'm not going to tell you how to do this, I'm just going to do it myself. It also feels like it undermines the idea of being the first person to do it if nobody else is able to do it in the first place, right? Maybe more desensitized towards hate. I don't think hate was an issue there. The trading merchant has arrived, go check out his deals? Oh, good point. I don't know, I get the heart hairpin. I like the heart hairpin a lot. Yeah, I know. That was one of the things I had brought up when I was talking about it. And it also felt weird because, like, the dev didn't, like, send me a message on Discord or, like, ask to talk to me privately. He basically, like, called me out on stream about it as, like, a public confrontation, which was just really awkward. And I didn't like. I don't know. It was weird. The merchant sells dreams luck. Oh, by the way, Rainworld is, as of yesterday, Rainworld Downpour came out to console, and, Rainworld also released on the Xbox, before it was only on Switch and PS4. So if you're on any of those consoles and wanted to either play Downpour, or if you're on Xbox wanted to play Rainworld at all, it's now available. July 11th was Rainworld's console Downpour release date. As of now, it's, Downpour is out on console, and Rainworld as a whole is out on Xbox. Along with Downpour. Rainworld's on PlayStation? Yeah, Rainworld's been on PlayStation since, like, 2017 or something. The only console it wasn't on was Xbox. I think it was on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Downpour didn't come out until yesterday on PlayStation, but I think it's been on PlayStation the whole time. Check something real quick. How's your new game for the year? Have fun. Yo, Metropolis Threat. I love Metropolis Threat. Where is my remote control for my lights? I wanted to check if I can just turn it on. Yeah. One sec. There it is. It was upside down. It is now late enough that what is with that glare? Hold on. What is this? Webcam even on right now? This lighting is incorrect. Hold on. This isn't live. It's giving like a last recorded image or something. Yeah, it's not properly registering it. Hold on. Properties. There we go. Position this. Put this up here. Good. I think that's steady. Okay. Oh, no, it is not steady. Hold on. Let me stack up here. If I just do something like this. I think that works. Okay. I could also, zoom in a bit here. I don't think I'm gonna make it a full 3 hours. I might do another half hour tonight, and then go to rest. Because I'm still, like I said, racking up a sleep deficit from when I killed the pillars. Because I was up till like 3 a.m. doing that. I haven't quite rested that off yet. Let me, she's probably not going to be too active with her top light on. If I turn this off... No, she's not. The problem is... It's the same problem I always have with her, which is just that she's not visible. Without, good lighting. But good lighting also makes it so she's not very active. Yeah, I'll call, I think I'll call it once we get to 205,000. I'll call that a cutoff point for the night. Because I would like to rest. Oops. I would just think you had coffee earlier? I'm not really a big coffee drinker. I don't like the taste of coffee. And, I've never liked the idea of getting... I know a lot of people that are, like, dependent on coffee. And I've never liked, the idea of having something similar happen. Coffee's not good for you? It's not, no. But it is a legal stimulant, and it can certainly help people in functioning. Which, granted, healthy lifestyle choices could also aid in, but I understand why people use coffee. You like coffee, but you'll never reach the point of addiction? Would you recognize it if you reach the point of addiction? Because a lot of people have an addiction but don't realize it. Not that you do, just food for thought on that end. I had a friend in high school who would swear up and down that he wasn't addicted to weed, but would, like, be unable to function emotionally without some kind of high going. God, I remember I hated that same friend in high school. Who knows? Maybe he's watching now. I don't. If he is, this was kind of a annoying thing that you did several years ago. But he had moved away in, like, my sophomore year of high school or something to New York, and a few months later, a year later, something like that, he had invited me to come stay with him in New York. And I did. I went there. And it was a very not pleasant experience. How do I describe this? I feel like in the time since I had been a good friend with him, I had kind of reflected on who I was as a person in, like, freshman, sophomore year of high school, and strove to change a lot of things. And I felt like I just wasn't the type of person that meshed super well with him anymore. I remember that I did not have that much money, and I had taken my money taken a bunch of cash because I was planning to go to Comic-Con in New York immediately after the trip. And I ended up having to spend most of my money during that trip just, like, buying food. Because I think he was expecting me to pay for my own things, which I was not anticipating ahead of time. Because I only had maybe like $100, and it was something like, you know, I know a friend who can get us into the amusement park for free or something, and then we get there and it's like, oh no, the friend can't get us into the amusement park for free. You actually need to pay for your ticket, and your ticket's like $30. Or things like that. And it was awkward because you don't want to say no, but it's also like, well, that's like all of my money. Like this was, I think this was before I had a job. Like I didn't have money to spend. He also, like, he was living with his grandparents, and this was the same friend who smoked a lot, and I remember he would, like, hotbox in his room, which was a very unpleasant experience for me, because I did not like the smell of weed at all. And it was just really awkward, because somebody else was smoking something that I didn't like, and I wasn't. But I wasn't really socially adept enough to handle that situation, so I ended up just kind of sitting there, and it was weird. Hotboxing. Hotboxing is when you, like, cut off the vents flowing out, close the windows, put a towel under the door, and smoke in a room and, like, trap the smoke inside. Basically, like, cutting off airflow so you don't, like, leach out, like, smell and things. And the reason he was doing this is because his grandmother didn't want him smoking. And then it was also... There was a weird situation that I remember where I was in his basement, and he was inviting over his other friends, and his other friends gave me a kind of weird vibe. And there was a genuine, unironic, like, for some fucking reason, they just started, like, pulling out and measuring their penises or something. Or, like, I remember some guy had whipped his dick out, and it was just really awkward. Because I was just kind of sitting on the couch. And they were all talking about, like, their penis sizes, and, like, going, like, oh yeah, this guy's got a huge cock. And, like, he pulled his dick out, and it was just so weird. Because I was just, like, trying to hang out, and, like, I don't really remember what was going on, if I was, like, trying to play a game or something. Yeah, that was the last time I really talked to that friend. At that point, I kind of just stopped, and it was awkward and weird. And I've just changed so much of a person that I just have not really had any desire. They've tried to talk to me before, and, like, they're not a bad person. It's just, I feel like I've grown to be such a different person, and I don't know. It's just, it feels weird. I would have left immediately. The thing is, I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I got dropped off in New York. I don't live anywhere in near New York. Like, there's nobody that can come pick me up. Like, there's not anything for me to do or go, and I didn't really feel comfortable just, like, walking out of the situation. It was also, like, I don't like amusement parks at all, and I also essentially, that whole thing with the amusement park where, like, he was supposed to have, like, a friend who would get us in for, like, really cheap or free or something, and then that didn't happen and we had to buy our tickets. I don't like amusement parks. I don't like going on rides. And I essentially had to spend a not insignificant amount of the money that I was planning to save for something else, to do something that I didn't want to do, and then get pressured into, like, going on rides that I didn't want to go on, because otherwise it just kind of felt weird, and I'd just be standing there. And, like, I don't like being moved violently side to side. I don't like going at high speeds. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like that pirate ship ride. So glad owning drugs carries a criminal penalty in your country. I don't think drugs should be criminalized. Usually, they're not things that deserve or warrant such a punishment. I mean... I would certainly not be about ruining somebody's entire life over the possession or use of drugs, because usually people doing that are struggling and are people that need help. And obviously it depends on the drug. I'm talking more hard drugs. With lighter drugs, like, as much as I don't like marijuana, like, it's all in all a relatively harmless drug. And I certainly think the notion of people's lives being ruined over carrying a couple grams of weed, which is a shockingly common occurrence in the US, with decades of time and a felony charge, is fairly absurd. I would not wish that on anybody, even if I don't necessarily appreciate their drug use. I think, particularly in the terms of harder drugs, you know, it's one thing to be dealing drugs, it's another thing to be using, because people using drugs usually are not bad people, they're just people who have fallen on bad times. And not everybody is going to be redeemable or able to be rescued or helped, but some of them certainly are. And I don't think throwing people in prison is the correct solution there. Yeah, I mean, it was a guy that I had, like, stopped talking to. That I had friends until you found out they do drugs, just no contact, but you don't like to associate yourself with those people. I think it depends on the drug and whether or not their usage, like, how much it affects things. Like, I don't... Like, there's a big difference between a friend who, like, takes LSD or shrooms sometimes, and a friend who's, like, taking meth or heroin or something. I feel like the context there matters, and it's difficult to treat all drugs under the same blanket statement. Okay. Like I said, once we hit 205, that's going to be the cutoff point for tonight. So I'd like to get some rest. And we're almost there. Have I played Calamity? I have played Calamity. I have some old live streams and 2 videos edited from those live streams of my Calamity playthrough, if you're interested in those. How long do you expect Moonlord to take? A very long time. I don't have an accurate estimate. We were probably looking in the triple digits. As far as hours go. Such a long period of time that it's not really worth trying to estimate. Is how I describe it. Did I like Calamity? I think it was fun to play, but I don't really have much interest in playing it again. That's how I would describe it. It was fun to play once, I wouldn't replay it. Would I say it's worth getting? It's free. I mean, I think the mod itself is fun. It's not a bad mod. Yeah, I mean, Calamity mod's free. You just download it from the Steam Workshop. It's not like you have to pay for it. I mean, I think it's worth trying, at least. It's not bad. I think the worst part about Calamity is the community around it. The mod itself has flaws, but, I mean, if you like Terraria, you might find it fun. I think it's worth a try, at least. But yeah, that is going to be, that's going to be it for today. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. Good night, everyone.